Hello students, I hope you all are doing great. Welcome to the daily news analysis. I am your educator Prithviraj Singh. So today we'll be understanding the important news articles of 12th of March 2022. Let us begin. So we have this article with regard to an active volcano erupting again. Guys, Indonesia, Indo-Pacific nation, which is located in the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is actually a horseshoe-shaped, circle of volcanoes. It covers all the Pacific Rim nations, including Japan and Eastern Russia. Then you have your Indonesia, those islands, and it goes up till the western part of America. Correct. So that is called as Ring of Fire, right? Now, in Indonesia, on 12th of March, an active volcano erupted, and it is Mount Merapi, right? So, I expect a question on this. Mount Merapi is the country's most active volcano, and it has seen eruptions, right? So, there may be a question being asked on Mount Merapi, that which among the following countries has Mount Merapi, an active volcano, correct? So, it is Indonesia. You would also be remembering, guys, a few months back we studied that Indonesia, because Indonesia has shifted its new capital to Nusantara, and it has shifted its capital from Jakarta to Nusantara, right? Because Jakarta is actually, seeing the adverse consequences of, rising sea levels because of the global warming, and also because of huge population. Indonesia has shifted its capital. It is in the process of shifting its capital from Jakarta to Nusantara on Kalimantan Island, right? So Mount Merapi, as you can see, guys, it is a active volcano, and it is literally, Merapi means fire mountain. It is very close to Yogyakarta, and it is also being designated as one of the decade volcanoes, right? As I said, that the new capital is Nusantara of Indonesia, and they also have an active volcano by the name Mount Sumeru, right? Now, Mount Sumeru is the highest volcano of Java Island, which erupted with fury, in last December. Possibly, we would be remembering in December 2021, we had this news of Mount Sumeru, right, erupting in Indonesia. Again, as I say, that it is the highest volcano of Java Island and is the highest mountain of the island of Java, right? So there are two island groups, Java Island and Kalimantan Island, right? So on Java you have Jakarta, and on Kalimantan Island you have Nusantara, right, which is the new capital of Indonesia, right? So the highest mountain of the island Java has seen its eruption, volcanic eruptions in the last December, Mount Sumeru, right? Now there are many words which are being derived from Sanskrit. Sumeru is again the name for the central world mountain. It is also called as the abode of gods, or the great mountain. I hope it is clear. Moving to the next news article, guys. The Google Facebook JD deal under probe in European Union. Guys, we all know that Google and Facebook are the two social media platforms, and they are being used by many companies to advertise their products, right, to advertise their services, right? So they have this ad services also, right? You possibly would have seen that while scrolling through Facebook, you would come across multiple ads, right? So these are the ads which are being, placed by many companies on Facebook. Definitely they pay for that, right, to the Facebook. Similarly, there are many ads which you see on the Google, right? So therefore they are also, they advertise the companies, right? So in order to eliminate competition from the Facebook, Google actually signed a deal with Facebook, also called as JD Blue deal, right? And in this deal, the ads which were actually being seen on the Facebook would now be, taken up by the Google, right? So Google made a pact with Facebook in 2018 after it saw the social media firm as a threat to its established dominance in digital advertising, right? And in this sense, it offers guaranteed special treatment in Google's ad auction platform, right? And this deal with the Facebook in the year 2018 is called as JD Blue deal, right? So therefore it is important, and there is a huge possibility of it being asked in the examination. So students, please be alert and attentive. JD Blue deal, they may ask you that which among the following is the code name of the deal signed between Google and Facebook which is recently making news. So it is JD Blue deal, right? And it actually is actually establishes the dominance of Google in digital advertising, and it guarantees special treatment in Google's ad auction platform, correct? Now seeing this, in the year 2020 America has sued Google for secretly running an illegal advertising monopoly. Guys, you cannot, any one company cannot manipulate the market, cannot monopolize the market, because it is against free trade practices, correct? It is against free and fair competition. In India also we have many regulators like Competition Commission of India. It checks for any unfair trade practices, any cartelizations, any hoardings, right? Any monopolizations which is actually coming at the cost of the other company, right? So Competition Commission of India. So please find it out, what is Competition Commission of India and in which year it was established, right? So give your answer in the comment box today itself. Which year Competition Commission of India was established and who is the chairperson of the Competition Commission of India, correct? So read about Competition Commission of India and give the answer in the comment box, correct? So Competition Commission of India also checks such unfair trade practices. So America sued the Google for secretly running an illegal advertising monopoly which gives an unfair advantage to Google and making a secret deal with Facebook, now renamed as Meta Platforms Inclusive, to rig the ad auctions. I hope it is clear. Guys, in this sense, the lawsuit also alleged that Google used an unlawful web of exclusionary and interlocking business deals to edge out competitors, right? So in order to edge out the competitors, Google is using the JD Blue deal, and both Google and Facebook denied the claims of the attorney generals, correct? Guys, European Commission, which actually regulates the the trade or the market, it ensures that there is no unfair trade practices in the market, on Friday opened an investigation to assess whether the secret deal between the two tech giants breaches any EU competition rules, right? So if I talk about the EU or European Union competition law, it actually promotes the maintenance of competition within the European markets by regulating the anti-competitive conduct by companies, correct? So in this sense, it ensures that the companies compete on equal platform, on equal terms. I hope it is clear, and I expect a question on this. Moving ahead to the next news article. FIR or First Information Report is a public document link which and Amit Shah, the Home Minister, is saying that FIR is a public document and link CBI, NIA, NCB to Central Crime Data Platform, correct? So in this sense, Amit Shah is hinting that the intelligence data of CBI, NIA and NCB must be linked to a central crime platform, right? We all know NCB stands for Narcotics Control Bureau, and NIA is National Investigation Agency. So Home Minister is saying that the data of the central agencies should be linked to crime and criminal tracking network and systems, right? Guys, CCTNS, very important, and it is being used for sharing the intelligence data, which actually helps the government in identifying any suspected criminals, the accused people, right? So it is crime and criminal tracking network and systems. Crime and criminal tracking and network system, CCTNS, the centralized online database of first information reports. So the FIRs are being registered at CCTNS. It also has the data with regard to charge sheets and investigation reports. Correct. So they may ask you the question on CCTNS, and it is important for the internal security part, right? Guys, there is a intelligence database structure also called as National Intelligence Grid or NatGrid. NatGrid, as you can see, that it is an integrated intelligence master database structure for counter-terrorism purpose. In this sense, guys, it connects the database of various security agencies, be it the CBI, the NCB, the NIA, etc. Correct. It collects the comprehensive patterns procured from 21 different organizations, right? And the CEO of NatGrid, the present CEO of the NatGrid is Ashish Gupta, an IPS officer. Ashish Gupta is the CEO of NatGrid, right? NatGrid came into existence after 2008 Mumbai terror attacks. Correct. So NatGrid is a database structure which actually collates the intelligence data of various security agencies. Correct. It is conceptualized as a seamless and secure database for information on terrorists, right? So guys, it is not limited just to the terrorists, but also any economic crimes, right? So the data with regard to economic crimes is also being maintained here, right? So this is something which has to be kept in mind, right? Economic crimes. So they may confuse you that it is just confined to the data linked to terrorists. No, it is also linked to economic crimes, right? The NatGrid has been envisaged as a robust mechanism to track suspects and prevent terror attacks with real-time data and access to classified information, right? Because it has the access to the classified information like immigration, banking, individual taxpayers, air and train travels. Correct. So in this sense, it can keep a track of such terror suspects. If I talk about the CCTNS, it is a plan scheme conceived in the light of experience of a non-plan scheme. Guys, there was a non-plan scheme earlier called as CIPA, Common Integrated Police Application, CIPA, right? So it was a non-plan scheme, whereas CCTNS is a plan scheme. That means it receives the funds from the central government. And very important, it is being implemented under NEGP, National E-Governance Plan. And I expect a question on this. They may ask you the questions with regard to the function of the CCTNS, when it was formed, and it works under which project. So it is National E-Governance Plan, NEGP. I hope it is clear. Moving ahead, there is also a police intelligence database called as National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Guys, the police uses various methods to track and trace the criminals, and fingerprint or the biometric biometric thing actually comes to handy for the police in identifying the criminals, right? It also helps the police in its forensic reports. Correct. So you have the system called as where the fingerprint of many suspected people are being registered, and it is called as NAFIS or NAFIS, or also called as National Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Correct. Now in this way the police can reach the suspect's doorstep by matching the fingerprint with NAFIS database. Number one. There is also a system called as Interoperable Criminal Justice System, IOCGS. interoperable criminal justice system. It aims to integrate CCTNS project with the electronic courts and electronic prisons database, right? So interoperable criminal justice system actually integrates the CCTNS data with electronic courts and electronic prison database, correct? I hope it is clear. So let us move to the next news article on the screen. Guys, recently there was some news that the mugger crocodile species, which is majorly found in Chambal River Basin, Gangetic River Basin, they died in Kota in a place called as Kala Talab, and it is being alleged that because of the development activities, the slurry, the fly ash, etc., were being decomposed and they were being de-dumped into this this site, right, where the crocodiles actually live and sustain, right? So Kala Talab in Kota, which is a mugger crocodile site, has been filled with fly ash, right, and the soil to build residential colonies in Kota near Chambal, right? And you can see, guys, in the picture the crocodile being died because of this these pollutants. So it is a cause of worry. Why? Because it is a Schedule 1 protected species under Wildlife Protection Act, WLPA 1972, right? So therefore it surfaced the newspapers. So mugger crocodile is they are majorly found in India and Sri Lanka. Even Pakistan, Nepal also have, and even Bangladesh have some the species of the mugger crocodile, and basically they are being found in the Chambal River Basin and the Middle Ganga Basin, right? If I talk about, as I said, that it is under WPA 1972 Schedule 1 species, under CITES, which is a convention against the trade of the endangered species, it is again in Appendix 1. As far as the IUCN Red List is concerned, it is a vulnerable species. If I talk about its characteristic, it has the most alligator-like shape, right? You guys also would be knowing that in Chambal, there is also Chambal Sanctuary, and it is basically a protected site for crocodiles. Guys, Kala Talab is not a wetland, and however it is protected under the WPA, right? So definitely, if it is not a wetland, the wetland rules for the protection cannot be applied here, number one. But at least because it is a protected site under WPA, so therefore the government should have noticed these developments and should have stopped such unsustainable development activities. So guys, coming to the editorial page of the Hindu, there was this article, a beautiful article on this editorial page of the Hindu newspaper, and it talks about the nuclear energy and is it sustainable. Should the countries give up the development of the nuclear energy, as it is being seen that many countries, post the Fukushima incident in Japan, have given up in the year 2011 have given up the development of the nuclear energy, right? So this article actually explores the nuclear energy and is it actually required when we have some other alternate sources of energy, in the form of renewable energy, right? So in this article we'll be understanding the nuclear policy, right? Guys, the author is saying that the nuclear reactors are very vulnerable, and it comes at this point of time because of the reason that Russia, after its invasion in Ukraine, on the very first day, that is on 24th of February, it actually captured Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Although it is decommissioned, it is defunct, it is no more functioning because after the 1986 nuclear accident, but it is a threat, right? Because the movement of the vehicles in and around Chernobyl would increase the the radiation levels in the city, right? So therefore it is definitely a risk, number one. Number two, Russian forces also few days back occupied and captured Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which is Europe's largest nuclear power plant, right? And they bombed the nuclear power plant, and 1 out of the 6 nuclear power plants, nuclear power reactors were being shot, and they are burning, right? Although fortunately the fire has not caught with the cooling system, and it is not a risk as of today. The Russian forces are also moving to occupy the 3rd nuclear power plant in Ukraine, right? So this article becomes important in understanding the nuclear power in the backdrop of the Russian invasion. Guys, if the Russian forces would have attacked the cooling system, or even the plant's power supply, or its spent fuel pool, then it would have led to disaster. And it's being said that it could have been the accident worse than the Chernobyl of 1986. Correct, guys. In 2011, in Japan, saw a nuclear accident in Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, which became very famous because post 2011 Fukushima Daiichi incident, the countries across the world started cutting down their nuclear reactors because it was a huge leakage. And the reason definitely was the earthquake induced tsunami, which actually disrupted the cooling system, which got cut off, leading to the nuclear disaster in 2011, right? So it's being seen that the aftershocks of the Fukushima disaster were felt beyond Japan, and many countries, as I say, has started cutting down the nuclear power energy, right? But sadly, Indian government in December 2021 has informed the parliament that it would be coming up with new nuclear reactors. So as you can see, 10 indigenous nuclear reactors would be built by the government of India in fleet mode, plus there is an in principle approval given for 28 additional reactors, including 24 to be imported from France, US and Russia, right? So guys, in December 2021, in the parliament session, the minister said to the parliament that the government is in process to build 10 indigenous nuclear power plants plus 28 additional reactors would be installed. 24 out of 28 would be procured from France, America and Russia. So on one hand, the countries are rolling back their nuclear their dependence on the nuclear energy, but Indian government is actually going in that direction, building its nuclear power base, which is definitely very risky affair, provided the casualties, the disasters which were which the countries have seen after Fukushima and Chernobyl. Guys, on the other hand, they are not only vulnerable, but they also incur heavy cost, very high cost, right? And that is the reason why many countries in the world are actually rolling back the use of the nuclear energy. Because if we compare nuclear energy with in economic terms with the renewable energy like the solar energy or the wind energy, the cost for solar energy is much more less as compared to the nuclear energy, right? So nuclear reactors are capital intensive, right? Guys, a nuclear power plant NPP in America's South Carolina state, VC Summer nuclear project, was being closed recently because it incurred huge expenses, huge expenditure crossing over $9 billion, right? So VC Summer nuclear project. In contrast, as I say, that the renewable energy technologies have become cheaper, right? And they're also not risky and they're sustainable. Guys, very importantly, and I expect a question on this, in the year 2020, International Energy Agency, right, has dubbed that the solar energy is the new king of electricity, right? So this is a very important takeaway from this article. International Energy Agency, right, IEA in 2020 has said clearly that solar energy is the new king of electricity. I repeat, solar energy is the new king of electricity, is being dubbed by International Energy Agency, right? In 1996, 17.5% of world's electricity came from nuclear power plants, right? So we are comparing the contribution of nuclear power energy in 1996. It was 17.5%, and if I talk about 2020, the figure had declined to just around 10%, right? So we have reduced the nuclear power energy. In 1996, the contribution was 17.5%, and in 2020, the contribution was just 10%, right? So we have cut by 7.5%. In this sense, it is a clear, we can clearly see that there has been declining trend over the dependence on the nuclear power energy, because they are cost intensive, plus they are also highly vulnerable, right? If I talk about India, the installed capacity today is just 6.78 gigawatt. Earlier it was being targeted high, right? Guys, the such targets were based on the expectation that India would import many light water reactors after the India-US civil nuclear deal. You all know that in the year 2007, Manmohan Singh government signed a nuclear deal, with President George W. Bush Jr., Indo-US civil nuclear deal. But sadly, not even a single reactor or nuclear power plant has come under this deal, over the past 13 years. Of the 24 foreign reactors that the government has, approved to build, 6 are the VVER or water energetic reactor designs. And this design, VVER design, has already, seen the operational problems in Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu. Guys, 12 reactors are proposed to be imported from America, and under the US Vostell project, AP 1000 series reactors would be imported. The remaining 6 would be based on EPR design, and they would be imported from France. Correct. Compare that figure with the recent low bids of, guys, now if I compare with the renewable energy price, the solar energy per unit is just 2.14 per unit, right? If I talk about the solar wind hybrid projects, it is 2.34, right? Even in projects coupled with storage, bids are just around 4.3 rupees per unit. If I compare to nuclear energy, it is very, very expensive. It comes to somewhere around 15 to 20 rupees per unit, right? And the agency in India which regulates the nuclear power sector is Nuclear Power Corporation of India, right? So in March 2018, you all would be knowing that there was a protest in Gujarat in one of the nuclear reactors, Mithi Virdi nuclear power project, and it happened just after Fukushima disaster in 2011. The locals actually protested against the Mithi Virdi nuclear power project. So they may ask you the question that which among the following power plants has seen the protest by the local people, and because of this reason it was shifted to Andhra Pradesh, right? So we'll be understanding this in the coming slides. We know about that climate change will increase the risk of nuclear disasters. As you can see, more and more tsunamis may happen, more the global climate change. And recently, guys, just the day after the fire at Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, a wildfire also approached one of the nuclear power plant in South Korea. Very important, and I expect a question on this. It is Hanul nuclear power plant in South Korea. So guys, just on a few days back, the Hanul nuclear power plant in South Korea, there was a forest fire, right? Wildlife fire, forest fire, which approached the Hanul nuclear power plant, and the president of South Korea, Moon Jae-in, actually ordered all-out efforts to avoid this accident, and it closed Hanul, nuclear power plant. Similarly, guys, Duane Arnold nuclear power plant in America. I'm writing here Duane Arnold nuclear power plant is in USA, and it ceased its operations, right? So the same accident happened in in Duane Arnold nuclear power plant in America, and it has to be shut down, right? So the frequency of such extreme weather events would increase in the coming future because of the climate change. And guys, we all know that the recently held the Conference of Parties, right, also called as COP26 in Stockholm, right, in Glasgow, Scotland, my bad, Glasgow, Scotland, where it was being committed by Prime Minister Modi that India would achieve the target of 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by the year 2030, right? So we have set for ourselves a target of 500 gigawatt by renewable energy sources, and it has to be achieved by the year 2030, right? Number one. Number two, the COP26 parties also determined that by the year 2070 we would achieve the net zero emission target, right? So in order to mitigate the climate change, we have to use the green energy. We have to meet the targets which we have decided in the Conference of Parties, correct? So therefore the article says that instead of dependence on the nuclear energy, which is capital intensive plus very vulnerable, we have to move towards the adoption of renewable energy sources like solar energy, wind energy, so on and so forth. It is less costly, and it is also sustainable, and it is non-vulnerable, right? So that would be the right choice, and the government should actually think over this, that instead of expanding its nuclear power base, why not spend more on the on the renewable energy sources. I hope it is clear. So moving ahead, so this article have been explained here in in textual form. Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine, Fukushima Daiichi accident, and how many countries across the world started rolling back their nuclear power reactors. And in 2021 December, government came up with this policy of actually building new reactors, right? All the projects that we discussed in America, we see Summer nuclear power project, it was being shut down because of the high expenses crossing $9 billion. And then International Energy Agency saying that solar energy is the new king of electricity. So this is a beautiful article, guys. It would help you in understanding the nuclear energy sector in India and across the world. As you can see, guys, this I was actually mentioning that Miti-Vardi nuclear power project in Gujarat was being shut down when the locals turned against it, right? And it was being shifted to Kovada nuclear power plant in Andhra Pradesh, right? So it is very, very important. They may ask you that Miti-Vardi nuclear power plant was being shifted to which place? So it is Kovada nuclear power plant in Andhra Pradesh. Kovada is a place in Andhra Pradesh. So climate change will increase the risk of nuclear reactor accidents, so the government must actually look on this issue, right? I hope it is making sense. It's clear, right? So guys, if I talk about the list of current nuclear power plants in India, currently there are 22 nuclear power reactors which have a total installed capacity of 6,780 megawatt, right? And 1.8% of total installed base. Very, very important, guys. Currently, we have 22 nuclear power reactors. 22 nuclear power reactors. This is the list of nuclear power plants in India, and I expect a question on this. So please be attentive and alert. Tarapur nuclear power plant. So they may ask you the location. Tarapur is in Maharashtra. In Rajasthan, we have which place? Rawat Bhata, right? So Rawat Bhata over Chambal nuclear power project, right? Rawat Bhata in Rajasthan, then Naroda in Uttar Pradesh, then Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu, Kakrapar in Gujarat, Kaiga in Karnataka, and Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu, right? So there are two nuclear power plants in Tamil Nadu, Kudankulam and Kalpakkam, right? Kaiga is in Karnataka, Kakrapar is near Surat in Gujarat, and Naroda is in Uttar Pradesh, Rawat Bhata is in Rajasthan, as you all know, Tarapur is in Maharashtra, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are the operational nuclear power plants in India, right? 7. So I'd expect a question on these, right? So please understand this. If I talk about the nuclear power plants and reactors under construction, so these are under construction, right? Again, Kalpakkam is also seeing the enhancement in the in its base. Similarly, Kakrapar. So here you have Gorakhpur nuclear power plant, which is the new one in Haryana, right? Under construction. Similarly, in Rajasthan, also in Rawat Bhata, there are many units more to be installed. Similarly, Kudankulam, right? So Gorakhpur is a nuclear power plant in Haryana, in the state of Haryana, under construction. If I talk about the planned nuclear power plants in India, planned means they would be completed in, let's say, in the year 2026, 25, 31, so on and so forth, right? And they are also being announced by the government, central government, in December 2021, right? So Kaiga, in Kaiga, they're expanding their base. This is important, Jetapur in Maharashtra. So this is the planned nuclear power project. Similarly, Kovada, as we just discussed, and we talked that Mithi Vidhi in Gujarat was shifted in the year 2018 because of the local protest, and now it is being shifted to Kovada in Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, Kawali in Andhra Pradesh is again under, it is a planned nuclear power project. Mahi Banswada, very important guys. In Mahi is a river which originates in Madhya Pradesh, but it flows its water in Rajasthan and goes in Gujarat and drops its water in the Arabian Sea. Mahi river, right? So in Banswada, if you've seen Mahi Bajaj Sagar Dam, so on Mahi Bajaj Sagar Dam, the nuclear power project is under construction, and it is planned. Similarly, Chutka nuclear power project in Madhya Pradesh, right? So these are the four important ones: Jetapur, Kovada, Kawali, Mahi Banswada, and Chutka. Chutka is in Madhya Pradesh, right? So please take the note of these important facts and expect a question on this. Guys, it is important for all the students appearing for the law examination, and not only you, but also it is very much relevant for students preparing for UPSC and many other government exams, right? So guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the session. I would advise you to be regular with the newspaper reading, because newspaper reading is a sine qua non, to excel in law exam or UPSC exam or any government exam. So I style my videos which would benefit not only the law students but also UPSC aspirants, and as well as the students appearing for SSC and other CDS and other government examinations, right? So stay tuned, press the like button, do subscribe the channel, and comment. Your feedbacks are very important for us. I hope that the session was interesting. Enjoy the weekend. Wish you all the best. See you in the next class. Good day. Goodbye.